Joining me now is the WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the Ring Super Middleweight World Champion, Savannah Marshall. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm really, really good today.
Oh, I'm happy to hear it. Hey, and congratulations on the PFL signing. This is huge news. This is so exciting. Tell me everything about this.
It is. It's massive. It didn't come out the blue. The PFL were interested in me after my fight with Claressa Shields last October, so they showed a bit of an interest then, and it kind of didn't really go anywhere, and I forgot about it. I really did. I just forgot about it, and then out the blue, they'd offered me this contract. I was really happy with it. They'd offered me the contract on the Thursday. I signed it on the Saturday, and I flew out to New York to announce it on the Tuesday. So it was very, very fast. Very fast.
It's so funny that you forgot about it too. I love that aspect that they were phoning you. They must have phoned you to be like, "Hey, it's a PFL here," and you were like, "Who?"
No, my manager rang me saying, "Oh, they've sent you a contract." I was like, "Oh God, I totally forgot about it." Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic, though. But before we get to there, let's talk about your last fight. Congratulations on the huge victory over Franchón Crews here. How did it feel getting back in there and getting the W?
It was great. It was great. It was hard because I lost the fight before, obviously, to Claressa. I was no longer a world champion, so it was hard. So it was just nice to get those belts back and be a champion again.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it was an awesome event. Like I say, it's just so well put together. I think my favorite part of the fight, though, is when she was trash talking you at the weigh-ins and you started to laugh. What is your philosophy when it comes to trash talking and people getting all up in your face, you know?
I think kill them with kindness. That's the West. That's the West. If someone's being nice and you're trying to be nasty, I think that hurts more.
So is it just something like you've never thought, I'm not going to trash talk, it's just not who I am? Or has there been moments where you thought, this is it, I'm going to trash talk this person, and then it comes out wrong? Like, where do you land on that?
It depends. It depends who you're facing. And I think you kind of get a judge of someone's character being with them during fight week and how they act and their demeanor. So you kind of pick up, you go from there, really.
Well, and I get that. And I think, yeah, it's not just you get to know the person, but it's also that person that you're fighting is probably the person you have most in common with on earth. Like, you would actually get on with almost all of your opponents quite reasonably. You're all working towards the same goal. You get each other. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, that's true. I've never looked at it like that, but that is true, yeah.
All right, awesome stuff. And you do also have you have a fight with Shadasia Green in the next little while here. That's right.
So she's mandatory for the WBC. So I picked up an injury. I had an operation after my last fight on my hand. So I think Shadasia will be fighting Franchón.
Okay.
And then whoever wins is the mandatory. So we'll go. I think it's up to them who first, and then we'll go from there.
Gotcha. I also heard Jake Paul was trying to step in and help promote the fight against Shadasia Green. Did you hear anything about this? Is this official or is that just a rumor?
I didn't hear anything about that, but I wouldn't be surprised because obviously I've seen him with Amanda Serrano. He helped push her and Katie Taylor, and I know he's a big advocate for women's boxing. So to be honest, it's good to have him on board.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for a person like him, he is, as much as we trash talk people who are like YouTube boxers, he's got some good skills. But as a promoter, Jake Paul is actually really good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I know it's not just him. There's a really good team around MVP Promotions. And it's nice. It's nice to have someone of his, stature and the amount of followers he has to be really pushing female boxing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It feels like it's taken a long time to arrive, and finally it's here, but it feels like you were on the ground floor kind of working up with Claressa Shields and the others. But for me, it feels like this is the first moment that we've seen in history where female boxing is really taking center stage. I mean, stop me when I'm wrong here, but what do you see here?
No, it is. It is. I think it was all down to COVID. I think because women, for me, never seem to really get a chance, especially with some of the bigger promoters. And then when COVID come in, it was a lot cheaper to put female fights on. So that's when a lot of momentum started to grow. The fans were really fastly seeing female fighters, and I think that's when it all stemmed from, COVID.
I didn't think of it, but the timeline checks out. That makes a ton of sense. Jeez, that's really good. So now we are working with the PFL and PFLW especially. Now, how does it feel like the PFL is signing all these amazing female fighters and especially trying to make an entire promotion around these female fighters? And you're right in the forefront of this. You're right in the center of it all. What does that feel like? What does that look like to you?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna lie, pre-PFL, I never really watched MMA. No, I just never. It just really wasn't something that I'd take time out to watch. I know what it's about and things like that, and the different disciplines. But obviously now I'm training it. I'm appreciating it a lot more. It's great to see such a promotion really back women.
Yep, absolutely. No, you had, you might saw me here. You had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience before. How extensive was that?
Oh, little, very, very
Okay.
little. Nothing like I would brag about.
Gotcha. So now that you're training a little bit more, we've seen some videos. What aspects of MMA are you taking quite naturally to? What feels comfortable in there? Or is it all quite just like, oh, I don't like any of this?
No, no, no. I'm quite a good kicker. I'm a natural kicker,
Yes.
yeah. But do you know what? I really like the grappling.
Really? Tell
I
me more
really
about
like
this.
the grappling. I don't know. I think it's for me. If you think I've boxed for 20 plus years,
Mhm.
throwing the jab, the backhand, the hook, and then all of a sudden to be shown these different disciplines, it's you know, I feel like a novice again, and it's nice to be learning something new. But definitely, I really, really like the grappling. I think
Mm.
because it doesn't matter how big you are, how strong you are, if you've got that technique nailed, you know, you can beat anyone.
That's really interesting because I've always kind of gone from the philosophy when it comes to grappling, it's very different from striking because it's like following an order of operations, right? You go from step
Yeah,
A,
yeah,
step B, and everything
yeah.
should work. Whereas striking can be quite fluid and quite loose sometimes. Sometimes there's not an order of operations. Do you think that's
Mhm.
right or wrong? What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, no, I 100% get that. Yeah. Mhm.
What a feather in my cap! I'm going to tell all my
Yeah.
friends. Savannah Marshall said I was right. If any other fighter says I'm wrong, I'm going to say you told me I was right.
No, no, no,
So
it's right, it's true.
oh, awesome stuff. So in the Claressa Shields fight, are you going for a takedown first? What do you think is going to happen? What do you envision in this fight? Do you want to flex the MMA or is it just going to be boxing with 4-ounce gloves? What do you really expect here?
I think I think we both like to, you know, get each other on the ground, bit of ground and pound. I can see that happening, to be fair. But also it's when things aren't going right, you always resort back to what you know. So, you know, stand up punching. But nah, that's a fight I'm really looking forward to.
So, and that's the part that really surprised me because the PFL is angling for a Claressa Shields fight. You yourself are just saying like, yeah, let's do the Claressa Shields fight. You don't want any warm up fights in the meantime. You don't want to take anyone else. You want to rush right back into the rivalry. That's accurate, right?
No, no. So I'm not too sure about what Clarissa Shields is doing, but I've got a couple of warm up fights for me just to get a feel of it, that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
thing. And then hopefully the goal is Clarissa.
Hey, this is absolutely awesome. I
Yeah,
cannot wait for
yeah.
it. Do you have a timeline? Like we're looking at sometime next year. All this stuff is going to happen. You have a really busy next year scheduled.
I know I do. I really do. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome stuff. No, I saw that you also trained with Dakota Ditcheva. How do you rate her skills? Because she is a well-respected striker in the PFL.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She'd do well just boxing, I think. I was quite surprised, and she's a structure. She's an amazing athlete. Really, really amazing athlete, yeah. But she'd do well even if she switched to boxing, I think.
Now that's saying quite a bit. No, she does have a lot of professional kickboxing experience, but to be able to switch into boxing,
Yeah.
that's a huge deal there. Now, let me ask you, for someone switching between the martial arts here, we have Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury upcoming here. What do you see in that matchup? How do you see it playing out here?
I think, you know, Tyson's such a big guy. He's awkward.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got the footwork. So I can see him playing with him, Francis, a little bit. I think Joe might be a little competitive first 2, 3 rounds, and then I think it'd just be all Tyson.
I don't think people realize like switching boxing to MMA is something that a person feasibly, you know, can do. Switching MMA to boxing. That is
Yeah.
so difficult, right? Like no one would say go into Olympic wrestling if you know a bit of MMA because that would be ludicrous. But essentially,
Mhm.
that's what we're arguing. It's so
Yeah,
specialized, right?
it is, and I'm starting to notice already because I'm changing boxing stance, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think you can get away with going boxing to MMA, but going the other way, I think, yeah, it's harder.
It's difficult, but we're all going to tune in and pay money for the fight, and that's that's
Exactly,
it.
that's what it's about.
That's what it's about. But let me ask
Yeah.
you, we were talking about YouTube fighting a little bit before. If someone had approached you and wanted you to fight someone who was YouTube famous or Instagram famous or something like that, would that be something you were interested in, or are you going to pass on that
Oh,
opportunity?
100%.
100%. Tell
100%.
me
I think
more.
that, look, at the end of the day, you're getting punched, you're getting kicked, kneed, whatever in the face. So, do you know, you may as well get paid a lot of money for it. And with all this YouTube boxing, I think it's doing well for the sport. There's a lot more kids turning to boxing through the likes of Jake Paul, KSI than there was 18 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's good for the sport, and they're getting paid, so fair play to them.
More eyes on the sport certainly isn't a bad thing. We've come a long way in just in the last like 4 years here, right?
100%, 100%. Yeah, being a boxer and watching it, it's a
Yes.
bit, oh wow. But how could you deny anyone that opportunity to earn millions and millions of pounds doing what was it, a 4-rounder or a 5-rounder, whatever it was?
Some of them were exhibitions and stuff, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It still sells, right?
yeah, exactly.
Man, that is absolutely awesome. But let me ask you as well. So, is it true that the first time that you stepped in a boxing gym, they said no women allowed?
They didn't really say that. I remember going in when I was 11, and they'd basically said, "Look, if you've come to mess around, you can leave now." But it was a lot more aggressive than that. Um, and I was the only female for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, Looking back, the coaches didn't want me there, the boys didn't want me there, and yeah, it was hard, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I wanted to go, so it didn't matter when anyone thought.
You were going to stay there, right? And let me tell you my story a little bit here because I almost came at it from the opposite angle where I was a young guy. I was in amateur boxing. All of us were like 13, 14-year-old boys. We beat the shit out of each other and we thought we were super cool. There was one girl there who could actually box and she beat all of us up. And having a female there beating up a bunch of 14-year-old boys completely changes your perspective on like, oh, I'm not cool. I'm not good
Yeah.
at this. I need to get better.
Yeah.
So I almost think it's a better thing to have proper female fighters in the gym, right?
100%, yeah, I think also from a male perspective, like you just said there, you learn to respect women. I remember being quite young, and there was two types of boys: the boys that wouldn't hit you,
Okay.
or the boys that would try and kill you. So when you got a happy medium, you thought, yeah, you're a nice lad. You're a respectful type of guy, yeah.
That's what I'm reaching for compliments here. So thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for that. But I think empowering women to get into sports and not just boxing, but sports overall is a
Mm.
very important thing. And it can be extremely intimidating for new people and especially women to get in the gym. Now, women are going to be looking up to you now as an idol. What advice would you pass on to them when they are maybe struggling to stay at the gym or get in the gym in the first place?
Obviously, going on this MMA PFL journey myself, one thing I think I'll really start pushing for now is females to get into BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think
Mhm.
it's absolutely brilliant. And whenever anyone thinks of martial arts, they think you're getting hurt, getting punched in the face, um, getting choked, that type of thing, which is a slight aspect of it, but
Mhm.
there's so much respect in BJJ, and I think it's brilliant for fitness, toning the body. And I went to Spain last year, and I trained a little bit out there. This is before I'd signed with the PFL,
Mhm.
and I couldn't believe how many women in their 40s were doing BJJ, and I actually got a shock. But it's now I'm doing it myself. I can see why. I think it's brilliant.
Really? It's that
Mhm.
enjoyable that even after all these years, you're like, oh, I love this. I love this
Yeah.
BJJ. This is so much fun.
And to be honest, it beats going to the gym and running on the treadmill. Going on the cross trainer for an hour. I know which one I'd rather do.
And now, speaking of travel, you were just in Malaysia just like a month ago, weren't you?
No, last year I went to Malaysia. I went to Borneo. Yeah.
Tell me everything. How was it?
Oh, it was brilliant. It was one on the bucket list. So I definitely ticked that one off. It was great. And I've just previously been to Egypt. So I've not long come back from Egypt, which was good. But it was when we had that massive heat wave and it was a bit too hot for me. So yeah.
Oh, I know. I think since I moved to the UK, I think I've adjusted to the temperature here, and now I can't travel to hot places.
Yeah.
So I know that you do travel quite a bit. Where would you recommend somewhere that is off the beaten path that maybe a lot of people don't know about? Where would you recommend some people travel to?
I think a lot of people know about it, but Thailand.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Thailand, just a beautiful country. Nice people, and there's so many hidden gems. That's where I've been 3 times now, and I think I want to go back. So yeah, I'd highly recommend Thailand.
Absolutely. Next time you go, you give me a call. We'll go. You can show me around. I've never been before, so this will be great.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's round you out as a person here. I know a lot of athletes have signature brands like signature hot sauces, signature whiskeys, that sort of stuff. If there was a Savannah Marshall signature brand, what would that brand be?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm quite into me comfies, do you know, me loungewear. So probably a range of like doffing out on the couch tracksuits. When it's cold outside, you just put your slouchy tracksuit on.
Savannah Marshall, the professional athlete, not activewear, loungewear.
Loungewear, that's all.
Absolutely love it. And let's round you out as a person a little bit more. Growing up, were there any animes or cartoons that you particularly loved and found formative to who you are today?
I'm a 90s girl. I was 1991, and I remember a lot of it's an old one. It was called Wacky Races.
Let me look it up here. Wacky
So
Races.
it was an old cartoon, and it was basically every episode it was a race, and they had like loads of characters in their little cars, and they used to have to fight to like win this race. But there was one female, and she was called Penelope Pitstop, and I
Go
always
on.
wanted to be Penelope Pitstop, which is quite ironic because she was pink. You know, she had blonde hair. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It was some cartoon from, I'm reading here, from the 60s that had
Oh
female
no, 90s.
representation.
It was 90s. On the 90s.
Oh, gotcha. There was Dick Dastardly,
That's
Penelope Pitstop. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the one. Oh, this is absolutely awesome. But even just seeing female representation, you were like, yeah, that's awesome to see. More of this.
Yeah, there was only one. There'd probably be more females than males if it was on now.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That is awesome to hear. What about music, especially when you're working out? What's your go-to music?
I like 80s music. I'm a big Tina Turner fan. Fleetwood Mac, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Man, Fleetwood Mac Rumors is the greatest album of all time, and I'll stand by that. You agree?
Yeah, 100%.
So next year, you're going to be fighting in the PFL boxing. If it comes up, we're doing YouTube boxing. It's going to be a busy year for you here in the next little while here. But tell me, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how do you see yourself? How do you envision yourself?
Do you know what? I'd like to be sat there thinking, do you know what? I fulfilled everything I set out to fulfill, especially in boxing. I've boxed since the age of 11. I've been an international boxer, full-time boxer since the age of 16. So really, it's all I've ever done. It's all I know. So I'm in that bit of not a worry, but I do think, God, whenever I walk away with the sport, am I going to struggle because there'll be such a big void in my life. So I want to be comfortable in my setting, in myself, in what I've achieved, and think, do you know what? There's no regrets there.
There's no regrets. Picked up all the belts you wanted to, all the illustrious titles. I talked to one fighter. She's a Dutch fighter, fights in Japan, and she said the first time that she won a world title, she kept it in her bed that night when she went to sleep. So let me ask you, where do you keep all of your world titles?
Oh no, mine are under the couch, and
No, they're not. Get out of here.
I'm going to be moving soon, so I haven't really got a place for them. But because I'm still showing them off, they're still in the cases, so I can easily put them in the car take them out, that sort of thing. But they're literally under the couch at the minute.
Under the couch. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's awesome stuff. Okay. Last word goes to you here. Talk us on out of here. Shout out who you need to shout out. Thank who you need to thank. All that good stuff.
I just want to thank all my sponsors, because without them I wouldn't be able to train full time, and just thank you to all the fans. I always think back and I say to boxers coming up, you know, there was a time when, you know, I struggled to sell tickets. I wasn't pushed by promoters or anything. I was getting on at 7 o'clock. I wasn't even on the main card, that sort of thing. And, you know, now I'm headlining arenas. I've just been, you know, signed by one of the big MMA promoters in the world. So things take time. And I always remember someone gave me a bit of advice years ago, and it was, you can't save the world in a day. Things take time. So I've always followed by that bit of a mantra.
Got goosebumps. That's amazing to hear. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.